How's it going, everybody? Cameron here as Canadian Gamer, coming at you with another video. Hope you're all having a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. Hope you're all having some quality time with your family, if you're able to, depending on where you live. And obviously, restrictions with what's going on in the world. We don't really need to get into that today. But today I wanted to talk about something that I haven't really talked about a lot on this channel. I've mentioned it briefly from time to time. And that's talking about vinyl records, LP records, however you want to call it. Now, I recently did a stream, and in the stream, Cyrus Martin, Cyrus the video game virus, he had mentioned, he noticed I had a fairly large record collection. You could see it in the backdrop, and I mentioned, yeah, I've got quite a few records. And then he was streaming yesterday, and he had mentioned to me on his stream he'd like to see me post a video showing off some of my records, and I guess he's sort of thinking about maybe getting into the hobby as well. So I wanted to just show off a few. Originally, when I was going to tackle this video, I was going to basically, take my time with it, show close-ups of the records, do all kinds of match cuts, make it really nice. But then I thought, maybe that's not the best, my best interest to do that, because number one, I don't know how many views this video is going to do. I know that's not really a huge priority for a hobby channel, at least for me. But at the end of the day, I don't necessarily want to spend 4 to 5 hours editing a video that might not get a lot of exposure. That's a lot of time for me to, I don't want to say waste, but I mean, we'll just do this video as a test. And if you guys like it, I can post more videos like this and maybe show off some of my records in greater detail. So the next thing I want to just quickly mention before I show off some of my records, I just want to mention how I got into the hobby of collecting records. Now, like a lot of you guys and gals that are probably close to my age, growing up, my father had a record collection. Obviously, a lot of the records he collected were from the 70s and probably the 80s as well. And we had them in the household even in the 90s. My parents divorced. He took the record collection with him. In the early 2000s, I was going to flea markets, and that's where I acquired a bulk of my records, as well as, believe it or not, eBay of all places, because when I was collecting records heavily, it still hadn't really had the resurgence that we're experiencing now. I started really collecting records around 2003, 2004, 2005, and I think the big boom started happening around 2008, 2009, 2010. So it's a lot like video games in a way. It had a huge resurgence, just like retro video games. And now it's gotten to the point where it's just so hard to collect vinyl records, because you go to the thrift store and, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is there trying to go through all the records to find a hidden gem, dare I say. And not only that, but the used market, the records have gone up in price if you're trying to buy records online. And there's a lot of repros as well. So that's the first thing I want to talk about with regards to repros, because a lot of people don't actually know about this. This is one of the other reasons why I stopped collecting as well. So you can see here, Appetite for Destruction needs no introduction. But what you may not know is this is actually a repressing. I got this for Christmas last year or the year before. So this was printed, 2018, 2019. And here's an original copy of Appetite for Destruction. This one is probably from maybe 87, 88, 89, maybe the early 90s. Not 100% sure. I'd have to look up the serial code. So my mother bought me this for Christmas, and yeah, it's pretty awesome to have this, a nice mint condition repro. But the problem with the repros is a lot of times, yes, it's a vinyl record, but the audio on the vinyl record has been ripped from like an MP3 format or a compressed audio format. So even though you're playing a vinyl record on your record player, you're not actually getting the true vinyl experience on a lot of these modern records. Like I said, it's a digital audio sample that's being placed onto the vinyl records that you're buying nowadays. So just be wary of that if you're getting into collecting. If you want to be an audiophile and you care about those sort of things, or you want to be an enthusiast, try to get an original copy. A lot of times it costs maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less to get the original copy versus getting a repro. And I say less because, as an example, maybe not Appetite for Destruction, but you could get a record from a band like Genesis or Billy Joel or Elton John, as an example, Pat Benatar, Tina Turner, for probably $5 to $10 used. Whereas if you bought that same record brand new as a repro at a record store, it's probably going to cost you $20, $30, $40, and they probably got it done up on 180 gram vinyl and all the rest of it, all the bells and whistles that you don't need. You just need the record, right? So for me, yeah, it's okay to get a repro here and there depending on the record, but if I can get an original copy, I would much prefer that. So what we'll do now, I'm going to quickly go through this. I don't want to spend too much time at the 6-minute mark already. So a lot of these records, they're really expensive and sought after. Metal Jesus Rocks, he posts his vinyl collecting videos and whatever. I don't want to bag on the guy, but I can tell with his collection, he's got a lot of, as I mentioned, he's got a lot of repros. Whereas the records I'm going to show you here, these are for the most part pretty authentic. So the first one, it's a band, one of my most favorite bands, and that's The Replacements, a band hailing from Minnesota, Minneapolis, I believe. And this is their record, Hootenanny. And this is an original copy. And not only that, The Replacements, their first 4 records that were from the label there, I think it was Twin Tone, the first, I think it was 1,000 pressings, might have been 500, were done up on color for each of their 4 releases. So this was one of them. You can see here, it's original, and it's on clear red. I don't play this one, as I hit my mic here. I don't play this record. This record is valued at a couple $100, to be honest with you. So that's the other reason why I kind of stopped collecting, is because I'll show you guys in another video. I have another colored variant of a Replacements album. I bought it off of eBay, and I didn't play it. It sat on my shelf, and then I put it on one day just for the hell of it, just to hear the vinyl. And I noticed there was like a little wobble on the LP, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, because that affects the value of it, right? I'm not gonna say it's no good, but it's got a bit of a wobble. So with vinyl records, they're so temperamental. You can be as careful as you want with them, but if they're not stored correctly, if they're not in a room that has proper temperature, very temperamental. So it's an expensive hobby, and it's very easy to waste your money on records if you're not careful. So we have a classic band, one of my favorite bands, Rat, Dancing Undercover. Again, this is an original right here. Classic hair metal band. And this is an original, their first EP of Rat. This is pretty rare, actually. Self-titled EP, Rat. Pretty awesome as well. I picked this up for like $5 back in the day at the record store. I shun to think what this is valued at now. Long, probably out of print, unless they got a repressing, I'm not sure. A lot of times each year, I think once a year, maybe twice a year, we get what's called Record Store Day. And the record store, they'll sell special editions of certain vinyls, and a lot of times, again, a lot of it is repressings. This one here is actually, I think it's a live album, if I'm not mistaken, an Ideal for Living by the classic 80s band Joy Division. So yeah, pretty cool to have that. Not quite sure how limited that is. I don't know what it's going for these days. A lot of times scalpers will go to Record Store Day and then they'll scalp the records on eBay, just like video game scalpers. Here we have on 180 gram clear vinyl, the best of the Animals. This is a repressing. You could get this back in the day on obviously black vinyl. But with this one here, I picked this one up recently, maybe a year or two ago. So that's all the rage right now is clear and colored vinyl. It's been around for years, but now it's just really catching on. You can get splattered colored vinyl. You can get glow in the dark. There's a Ghostbusters glow in the dark vinyl you can get. This one I lucked out at. I picked it up at Valley Village maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Genesis Spot the Pigeon. This one recently got a repressing as well. Now this one's original, and you can see here it's on blue vinyl, and that's original. And this came out maybe early 80s, late 70s. So it got repressed on blue vinyl as well. But yeah, extremely happy to have that. Here's another pricey one here. The thing is with vinyl, one thing you guys got to know, vinyl was common in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The 90s, it was not common. So a lot of these records, like Nirvana, Nevermind, Pearl Jam 10, Alice in Chains, if you want to get those on vinyl, an original pressing, GNR Spaghetti Incident, be prepared to pay. 90s vinyl is extremely sought after and rare. This is probably one of the few, if not the only 90s vinyl that I have, and that's the classic America's Least Wanted by Ugly Kid Joe. So yeah, I believe this might have been a Mexican pressing. It's extremely rare. You don't see it too often. A very common CD, a cassette, but not on vinyl. It's pretty uncommon. So pretty cool. The next one we have here, a record store day release about 10 years ago, maybe 11 at this point, and that's by the band Hole, Skinny Little Bitch, with B-side Codeine, so on white vinyl. And that's like a 10-inch, I believe. So yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, vinyl's expensive, guys. It's expensive. Here we have Soundgarden off their last album they had released before Chris Cornell's untimely passing. And this is the King Animal demos. So yeah, pretty cool. Again, on a 10-inch. And then we have one here. I can't remember the exact name of this album, but it was released, I think, in 3 or 4 sections and then as one whole album, by the band the Pixies, and this was after they parted ways with Kim Deal the second time around, maybe around 2014, 2015, I'm not sure. So yeah, here you go. Extremely rare. I think this was the first of 4, but I got it. So pretty cool. I can't see it. My eyes are not the greatest these days, but yeah, it's a single from Another Brick in the Wall. I had Another Brick in the Wall double LP, and I actually gave that to a friend of mine. He was a huge Pink Floyd fan, excuse me. So another one I picked up here at Value Village, and that's the Beastie Boys, and you gotta fight for your right to party on side A, and then you got Paul Revere on side B. Def Jam Records. I don't even remember where I got this. This might have been something I got for free when I went to Record Store Day, but it's a band called My Darkest Days, Porn Star Dancing. And you can see here, it's on clear red as well. So got the band, The Killers, Smile Like You Mean It. Another single, and that's on red as well. Another Record Store Day exclusive, and this was on 180 gram, and that's the Rolling Stones No Spare Parts. So there you have it. And finally, again, another band that I really do cherish a lot, and that's the 80s band, the Fine Young Cannibals, the single to She Drives Me Crazy. And what's really special about this is a UK exclusive, and it comes in this limited edition tin. This was number 575. So very rare. You can see it there. The tin opens up. I'm not going to open it up right now, but I had ordered this off of eBay as well. And yeah, pretty awesome stuff. So yeah, as you can see with vinyl, lots of different shapes and sizes and types you can get. It is a very expensive hobby. These are just this is a small sample of what I have. I just wanted to show it to you guys. If you want to see any more, let me know. I can do a follow-up video as well. Again, just a brief introduction. I don't really collect vinyl as much anymore. If I'm out and about and I see something that piques my interest, I'll pick it up. But these days, it's typically something that's really cheap, something from the 80s, or the 70s. I stay away from the repressings. They're just a little bit too expensive for me. Everybody, like I said, everybody's jumped on the collecting vinyl, and I hate to say it, but they kind of ruined it for everybody else, because now it's just like the prices are just through the roof. So anyways, I'm going to cut it off there at the 16-minute mark. But anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.